morning, good afternoon. I know we have some guests, some viewers who are connecting with us, possibly from the UK. So, because my guest is from the UK. So, thank you very much for joining. This is another episode of Women Making an Impact Live. I'm your host. If you're joining for the first time, Salita Roberts, founder of Style to Impact, which is an image coaching and personal styling agency geared towards women empowerment through style. I want to be able to give women the confidence, clarity, and class that they need to increase their influence, impact, and income. So, welcome, welcome. I have a very special guest today. I've been fangirling over her from the first time I connected and had the courage to actually send a LinkedIn invite. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? Building your courage and your confidence to really step in as your best self and become your best self. So my guest today is none other than Veronica Asawa. Safoa Owusu. I think I got it. Please correct me because I
Yes,
know
yes. The
that was
second
a
one was
struggle.
good.
That was
Veronica.
a big struggle for me.
No, you're good. It's Veronica Safoa Owusu. Yes.
Oh, such a pleasure having you here.
Thank
I
you
call you
so
the
much,
dancing
Salita.
diva, like you know.
I'm a dancing addict. Yes, I have to admit.
Oh no, that's wonderful. I think one of the things that even made me fangirl over you even more is when you started to tap into my type of music, which is the soca music. I know that's not like I was like, what the hell? Because I know that's not a genre of music that's known worldwide.
Yeah.
So to see you tapping into that, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to connect even more, right? Because
Yes, I love
yeah,
soca.
so isn't it just wonderful?
Yeah,
Like,
just your spirit
ah,
just ooh.
it is, right? A lot of persons don't know this about me that I play mass, that I actually put on a full costume
Wow.
and I go on the road for 2 days because I'm originally
Amazing.
from Antigua. So we have the first Monday and Tuesday in August, we celebrate emancipation, and that's when we have carnival. For those two
Wow.
days, that is my happy zone.
Oh,
That is my, oh my gosh. Like I
I'd
don't
love to
drink
join
when
you
I'm on
one
the
day.
road. I all I'm having is LLB and ice and soca music, and you will think that I am the drunkest person on the road.
Oh boy, that sounds like so much fun. And fun is my middle name, maybe
I think,
nowadays.
yeah, I think you will enjoy it so much because there is no like it's not coordinated in terms of how it's like you go on the road and you enjoy yourself,
Yeah.
you express yourself, and just being in that costume, I can tell you, being in a costume, there's just something about it, like
Yeah.
it blows your mind, like being in a costume, being on the road, hearing that soca music, because it's like the music is being played on a truck and you
Hmm.
kind of like follow the truck as you got. Oh my, it's I think you will enjoy it.
I know I
I think
will.
you will enjoy it. So one of these days, maybe we will
We can
visit
do this
Antigua
one.
for carnival. Yes. I think you will have an amazing, amazing,
I'm
amazing
sure I will.
so thanks again for being here today. As I said, right, I wanted to talk about women are really showing up as themselves, not only on LinkedIn, where I met you, well, virtually, of course, and now we're having this personal conversation, but also in their lives, right? We feel as though, as I was mentioning before offline, where today my lighting for some reason or not is not cooperating with me. And because it's not cooperating with me, I feel as though my confidence kind of went down a little way because now I'm worried about, okay, how am I coming across? Am I coming across where people can see me? It's not too dark, and I'm focusing on all these things. And as a result, I felt my confidence going,
Mm,
right?
yes.
How
That,
do
that,
you like? I think like you're the most confident person that I have ever met.
oh boy.
Are you?
Do you see my knees shaking right now? You don't see it.
I know, but this is the thing, right? We all get scared
Yeah.
at some
Yeah.
point in another, but there's just something I think about you in the way you show up. And I think that's something I want you to share with my guests. Like, how do you like, how do you do it? Like, how have you crafted this space where you can show up as we talk about authenticity? But I think you're one of those persons that embodies it. How do you tell us,
So,
share some tips with us, you
so
know?
first of all, you mentioned about the lighting, right? And how that affected, how you're feeling about yourself. And that is the thing about us, right? Because we attach our confidence to a certain thing, and our confidence is conditioned by circumstances. So when that situation is not as perfect as we had wanted it, or if things don't go like we had planned, then our confidence goes down because our confidence is conditioned,
Yeah.
right? If imagine our confidence was free to flow with the trust that whatever happens, whatever comes our way, we have the capacity and the capability to manage and see through it no matter what happens. That is confidence, really, being in flow with whatever comes your way, but trusting that you have the capacity and the capability to handle it.
I love that. I love that because I think that's exactly what it is, right? We attach the confidence to so many things. It's like, okay, if we don't look right in the clothes that we're wearing, our confidence goes down. I don't think I look great on my lighting today. My confidence is like, okay, this is, and we dwell on that. So I think that's such a great point that you made. It's be free, right? Like,
Yes.
and even when you said it, I'm like, okay,
Breathe.
let
Yes.
it out. Inhale, let it out. Because yeah, it feels funny enough, I feel a little better now, just
Yes,
breathing it
and
in and
that's what it
out.
is. Even that breathing that you just did, that is confidence emitting. Confidence, look at it like a factory, and you're emitting the energy. You breathe and you let it out. And what you let out is the energy. And that energy is confidence, because what is confidence is simply a state of being. It's an energy flow, it's a state of emitting a certain kind of energy that gives you a certain kind of experience and those around you as well. And you mentioned the word free, and that's where it really starts from, being free. But to be able to be free, you have to be free with yourself. And to be able to be free with yourself, you have to know who you are as a person, as a human being, what you represent, what you love, what your values are, and then embody that in every shape and form.
Can I just say, like, this is where I'm trying as much as I can to now show up as myself on LinkedIn, because I'm not as serious as I appear all the time. Like, I'm that person who's taking photos and be like that and doing all the funny thing. I mean, just hearing you speak, I just want to be like, have one of those, like, have a bell and like, yes, yes, because you're speaking not only to me, but there's so many women, especially with the pandemic, where a lot of things, whether or not that, she may have lost her job or had to like pivot and try and find new ways of coping with the family life and with having building a business or changing careers. We find that, I found that even that process, it can be defeating. Like, what are some of the things that you found helped you during this period? Because it's been a challenging time.
Yeah.
And I know, looking at you, I'll be like, yeah, I need all the tips that you've been using to show up every
Oh
single day.
boy. It's funny because, most people know me as V Power, right? V being Veronica, my name, Veronica, and power meaning the power that I had to step into. But let's remind ourselves that V Power was once V Powerless. Let's not forget where, where it all started. When over 10 years ago, I was standing in front of this pawnbroker shop selling my precious belongings because our two companies had gone bankrupt, and all that was left was our precious belongings, so that we could at least afford the rent for that month.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment where you lose every single thing. You mentioned about losing your job during the pandemic, losing your property or your livelihood and all these things. It's in that moment where I really had to pause and ask myself the question: if everything that you have ever identified yourself with, your job, your material things, your status, your position, cease to exist today, then who on earth are you? Like, that was a question I was faced with. Who on earth am I when everything else ceased to exist? And that really embarked me on that journey of discovering myself. Who am I? Because it's only then that can you build a confidence. in shaping yourself and building upon the skills that you have, because that's how also confidence is produced, right? Building upon the skills, having the confidence that you have the capability in that skill, and then speaking your truth about it. The fact that I can show up here and speak about this is because I have embodied it. I've been doing it for so many years. So I have that confidence. I've built that confidence. So when you're starting off something new, it's only natural that you're a bit, apprehensive, a bit hesitant, and that's okay. But know that it's part of the process. Know that you are building upon it. Know that you are fueling the flame. And know that within the next 30 days, within the next 2 months, 3 months, within the next year, you'd have tripled and quadrupled your confidence. But we need to start from somewhere. So yes, V Power was once V Powerless, and that's how she felt, of course. It wasn't the truth, but that's how we feel.
Yeah.
Powerless in many ways. So yes, and really answering that question and embracing everything that I represented, and started setting goals that were aligned with my values of inspiration. I always used to be a teacher before I kind of diverted into this entrepreneurial world, right? And then we defined success the wrong way, and then we finally spiraled down the rabbit hole. But always going back to the roots, I was always, my mom was a teacher. I was always about inspiration, always about empowerment, always about transformation. So I went back to my roots of that core values, and then I built whatever goals I had for myself, whatever dreams I had, and started pursuing them without the confidence, without it, and then you build upon that. So you see me here today, it's because I have really embodied my values, what I want in my life, who I am, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm okay with that, and I'm happy with that. Those that have an issue with it, well, they're not my tribe, they're not my people. I'm not here to please anybody. I'm just here to be myself. And then we attract those that relate to us, those that, support us, those that love us, those that value us, those that support us. And isn't that a beautiful space and bubble to create?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I like what you said, because I think a lot of us, we focus on all the outside forces, right? Everything that's not going right, or what we need someone to do, instead of taking a moment and really evaluating what is it we want. Like, who am I outside of, the storm that I'm going through? Who am I outside of, not feeling as confident, or not thinking that I'm on that level of success, like what everyone else determine and define success as? Like, who am I? Like, define it for you. And I think that's a great first step for every single thing. And that's something that I had to learn, step away and stop looking at everything else and really look at yourself. And I think your story is so, so powerful, because there's so many women that are going through things. And I think we feel a sense of shame if we share it publicly, to say, hey, you know what? I was literally at a pawn shop, or I was so depressed that I couldn't get out of bed, right? And I think it's about time that we really tell women that it's okay that you don't have it all together. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling. But while you're feeling that way, let's put some action in place. Let's do some self-evaluation. Let's work on making things better. And I think that's such a great thing. I want to thank everyone for connecting today. I see you. We have Joanne, we have Flo. Thank you.
Hi.
Confidence is everything. Be free, right? We have Robert. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
Robert.
Yeah, and Elaine. Thank you very much. It's just so all great to have you ladies here, just joining in the conversation.
Oh,
If you feel like in the audience right now that you feel as though you're struggling with a particular issue when it comes to your confidence, this is your opportunity to really put your question out there, and let's have this wonderful woman help us along the
yeah.
way, right? There's nothing wrong with asking for help. And I think sometimes that's where we, we have an issues asking for help.
Mm. You, you know, um, talking about confidence, life happens, life happens in many different ways. Things happen, events which are out of our control in our personal relationships, at work. And the truth is, most of us think that, yes, these events have a direct impact on our confidence. And because we lost that job, because our partners did this to us, or because we had this experience in our past, our confidence is crushed, because we identify ourselves with those situations, because we identify our personas, our personalities, who we are with those events. That is a trap. When we identify ourselves with how we were mistreated, when we identify ourselves with what happened to us at work, when we identify ourselves with the traumas that we experienced in the past, and we create this identity, of course your confidence is going to be crushed. Of course it's going to be crippled and shriveled. And but what about if we let go, and if we knew the truth of who you really are, the truth that you're not those circumstances, you're not those opinions that somebody had about you, and you're not the thoughts that sometimes creep into your head based on a past programming that you inherited from somebody. When you really come to face the truth of who you are, you first have to face the truth of who you're not. And that's where confidence starts building up.
I think that's such a powerful statement. Like, who are you not? Because it's just creating those two columns. Who am I and who am I not? I think that's mind blowing. That's game changing, right? And being honest with yourself as to who you are and who you don't want to be. Okay, you don't want to be, whatever is in your column. I don't want to be this depressed. I don't want to be hiding. I want to show up as myself. I want to, whatever that is. And I remember we were talking about, because I'm like, you've changed, to me, one of the persons who have changed the way LinkedIn looks, right? I know for, when I first connected on LinkedIn, you heard the talks like, oh, it's this professional platform and you had to post a particular type of content and you had to sound a particular way. And here it is, I'm seeing this woman on my screen just dancing, just being free, right? And you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Where am I?
But it was never like, what is she doing? Why is she doing this? Like, how empowering is this? That when you connect with someone like this, and I can see this is you. Like, if I connect with you offline, I can see, okay, we go to a party or we somewhere and somebody beat a drum, give me a drum beat, you're going to be there. You're going to be the energy. I looked at it as such an inspiration as to how we can show up, or how we should show up. Right? What gave you the courage to even do that on that plot, on that platform?
It was by chance. I remember the day like today. I remember that day like today. It was, I think, 2020 or 2019, going 2020. And, I think it was a New Year thing. Let me look. I want to play my son.
That's okay. That's
yes,
okay.
This is it.
What happens when you're on live and you're working from home? Family is part of it. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, we're breaking for a moment. Robert, I saw your comment. I am so sorry that I said ladies and you are gentlemen. So accept my apologies, Robert. Accept my apologies.
So, yeah, those are the things, the kids are around after school. So yes, it was by chance, and I remember very clearly, I was at a friend's place and we decided to do this dance. We love dancing. So, we did this recording. It's like, just to wish a happy new year. Why don't I just post this video and, with a message behind it? And that's how it started. The response was so inspiring and so empowering. People were really relating to the vibe, and it builds the community.
Yeah.
And I realized, you know what? It's not about clients. No, actually, it's about building a community.
Yeah.
It's about building an audience or community of people that really relate to you on a human level.
Yeah.
building a community of people that really vibe with you and like the same things that you do.
Yeah.
And within that community, you have your supporters. Within that community, you have your friends. And within that community, you have some clients as well. It's the community that really creates this presence and visibility. So there's nothing like having a solid, trusting, loyal, vibrational community.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I got from it, right?
Mm.
From you showing up that way. It was because there's always that part of I'm sure every business woman or man tuning into this live right now or watching the replay, they're like, there's always that question of how much of me can I put on display in my business?
Yeah.
And would that cost me clients?
That's a great question.
Yeah, and I like how you put it because it's not about just trying to get the clients. It's
Mm.
about building a community that people see you for you.
Yes. And what I like about that question, it reminds me of this law that I live by. It's called the law of proportional standards. The law of proportional standards says that you cannot go as deep, or you can't go, or you can't take anybody deeper than you've been yourself. And you can't take anybody higher to any standard than a standard that you've been to yourself.
Yeah.
The law of proportional standards is so real, it's so true, and it applies. I can't take my clients when I do my deep dive mindset coaching. I can't take my clients deeper than I have been deep myself. And my clients with the course creation, I can't take them to a level that I haven't been to myself. So when it comes to, how much do I show, how much do I reveal, how much of myself can I express, you will go, or you will take your audience as deep as you're willing to go.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong answer, or you can go as this deep, any depth you choose. But remember, you can only go, or you can only take your audience as deep as you're willing to go. So the deeper you go, the deeper you'll take them, and the more maybe trust you build, the more tighter of a family, or more tighter of a community you build. But you decide how deep you go. And you can test the waters. There's really some of my clients also have these same questions, right? Is it too much? Like, how am I supposed to, how much of the story should I share? The stories that we have are not supposed to be ours to own. They're ours to now use and give purpose. And now, as instruments of inspiration and of empowerment, we share with the world. It's selfish to keep all those stories to yourself and not share them with the world. And that's also connected with confidence, right? The more we share, the more we realize, and we kind of teach ourselves that, hey, there's really nothing to be scared about. Hey, oh, it didn't go that bad.
I know. Yeah. But it takes courage, first of all, to get to that confidence level, right? And that's something that, like, when I think about like the things that I wanted to do, like thinking, okay, how do I want to come across on this platform, and how do I want to go about building a community, right? Because that's the thing that stood out most to me in terms of how you show up on this platform or anywhere. It's just building a community. But first of all, it took courage, right? It's like, okay, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And then saying, how are we doing? How am I doing? And then having the confidence to say, okay, hey, Veronica, how are you doing today? Would you like to come on my LinkedIn show, right?
Yes.
So I think the first step before we can get to that confidence level is really having the courage to step out.
And the courage to go for what we want.
Yes.
It's really about that at the end, deciding what we want, because you have to decide, you have to make a decision, you have to make a choice, right? It doesn't have to be as crystal clear yet. When I started on LinkedIn about now almost 5 years now, do you think I knew what I was doing?
I don't think any of us knew what we were doing. Like, I remember getting on LinkedIn and just like super, I couldn't just figure out what my voice was. Like, how did I want to show up?
Yeah.
So it was great for me seeing someone like you, because I could not figure out how to use LinkedIn, how to show, how to share my story. And the stories that we're sharing, as you said, it's not whatever you would have gone through in life or whatever your experiences, your talents are, it's not things that you should hold to yourself. Share it with someone else, because then you give that person the courage and the confidence to now show off as themselves, right? So
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember, starting out on LinkedIn, and this was over 5 years ago now. So we were freshly baked coaches, right? And it's like, okay, go out and get your clients. Like, okay, I'm a coach. Like, so what? They don't really teach you how to market yourself
Yeah.
in the training academies. So it's really about, I started really navigating the waters. I had to learn. I had to really figure out. I did lots of research, lots of reading, lots of personal development, lots of also personal training. I signed up. I really navigated and pinpointed who I want to aspire, who inspires me, what they're doing, and I learned. And navigating these waters, the online world, is actually a great skill to have nowadays.
Yes, 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 it is. Yes, it is. Do you think that you taking that step and trying to figure all of that out is what gave you the confidence to really show up in that space? Like really show up as yourself, you know?
It started with a desire, Salita, my marriage was on the rocks. I was like codependent on my ex. I had my first child then, and I'm like, Veronica, you need to do something with your life. You need to level up. You need to step up. You need to take your steering wheel and steer it to where you want to go. So I had a burning desire. That's where it started. I said, I'm not going to be part of what is it that they say, the statistics say 80% of coaches that don't make it online. I'm like, I'm not going to be that. I cannot afford to be that. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything. God help me. This is like, it was my last ticket. So when you have that burning desire that there's no going back, I think that's a drive, because some people give up too quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe that there's no force there behind it. And I was like, no, this is who I am. This is what I want, and I'm going for it. I'm all about inspiration. I had my story. I'd been through some serious shit. And I'm like, no, Veronica, you need to take charge of your life. And I cannot say, Salita, sometimes when I ask myself what would have happened if I hadn't, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to think about it even.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? We sometimes
So
we
glad.
get so, and when you're talking about your stories, and I'm here, and I'm like, yeah, like there's a, I haven't, I was talking to a speaking coach. I was like, oh, I have the title for my talk, but I haven't quite developed what it is, like, and who I'm going to, like the audience that I'm going to speak to, because I think sometimes what happens, we go through so much crap in our lives and we don't allow ourselves to see past that, right? We do the replay, like you just said. It's like you thought about this, like, nope, I'm not even going to go there. I don't want to know. I don't want to if, ands, buts, or nothing on that. This is who I am today. This is the Veronica. She went through a ton of shit and she's here, right? And I think sometimes a lot of persons are sitting down replaying those past mistakes, and I'm going to be honest, I do that as well, right? Where you're replaying those past mistakes, and then it's like, maybe if I'd gone left it would have been different. Maybe if I've gone right or went straight through, or go through the ands and the buts and the ifs and all of that. And I think the way of really pushing forward, because it builds your character, right? Really pushing forward is letting it out, like releasing it, just saying it, letting it out, and then focus a lot more on the person that you are today.
Absolutely. And that has a lot to do with confidence. See confidence as, again, I go back to the factory. Imagine this chimney, those factories in the chimneys,
Yeah.
that smoke that comes out sometimes with the vapor or whatever that comes out, that's your confidence. That smoke, that's just it. That's just the emission. So the more you produce in your factory, the more things are working smoothly. The machines are well oiled. All the pipes are well sealed. You have everything in place, and you're producing more. And the more you produce, the more energy you emit. And that's it. Just like there's no limit. And then it's like, wow, and you're emitting more energy, and people start to notice. People are drawn to that energy, and so it starts with really building upon what it is that you have. And I cannot say that this is a journey. I don't know with the destination of what is there a limit to the confidence. Like, there's no limit. So like today I'm here today, and tomorrow I'll be where I will be tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's it. There's no limit. There is no, okay, today. I think one of the things as well is to feel what you're feeling. Like if you don't, like, I will admit again that my lighting is bothering me, but I'm not allowing it to suck my confidence and not show up and be present in this moment.
That's
And I
it.
think sometimes that's where we have to, like, bridge that gap and saying, okay, things are not working the way it should around me, but I'm not gonna allow that to affect who I am.
Yes, because within you, there's nothing, there's nobody within you, only you. And you are in charge of what happens within you. All that happens outside, yes, we have no control as such. But what we do have control over is how we think, and how we think generates how we feel, and how we feel generates emits that energy
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
call confidence, or the lack of confidence, or whatever energy that you choose to emit at that given moment. So yeah, and one way that I have built the confidence, and when I say build confidence, mind you, it's not always always head up and always having it all sorted. Oh no, far from that. But it's a lot to do with trust. Sometimes in the beginning of your business, you're like, oh, where am I going to get the clients from? I'm doing all these content. These are some of the issues that I hear a lot, right? I'm putting out content, nothing is happening. People are, yes, yes, my baby. Huh? Your battery is dead. Okay, I'm coming to charge it. Okay, give me a second. You want to say hello?
Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, we're building confidence by having the little ones show up on lives with us.
Yes. We go with the flow, right?
Of course, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So, yes, trusting the process. So most of the time in the beginning, of your business, you're putting out content, first the clients are not coming, and you're like, oh, when, how. When you focus on the lack, that's what you get more of, and it frustrates you. The energy that you're giving out is not constructive, especially when you know that you are aligned, you know that you're on the right track, you're on the right mission, you're doing the right things, you have the right offer, you have the right packages, like everything's in place, but it's not going as such. This is where trust, this is the muscle of trust and faith is like a muscle. And I've built that muscle because with time, every time I had that thought, oh boy, because, in the beginning of the business, like what's it, when, how, like I've got things to do, bills to pay, but just trust, what? It's coming. What I want is coming my way, and there's no shadow of a doubt. And you know what? It always came. It always came. And then you're like, yeah, I said it will come, didn't I? Yeah. And then, the next month comes, and the next year passes, and you're like, it's coming. It's already there. It's coming. And then it comes. You're like, I told you. Like, why are you surprised, right? It's a game I play with myself, and sometimes then that's me, right? Just making it fun, making it light, not putting that pressure, and letting your soul free, because that's when you are open to the abundance that is there. It's there. So when you close the gates, you feel it's not coming, but what if you opened it?
I like that. So it's about letting go of the pressure, right? Letting go of that need to have everything happen right now. I mean, it's a natural feeling for us that we're doing things and we expect to get our results.
Mhm.
But I like what you're saying, and I'm telling you, I'm taking notes mentally as well, because I didn't just have this conversation to share with the audience, but also I wanted to know, like for me as well, how do I proceed and how do I build my level of confidence as I go forward? And just what you just said, just clearing that. Don't focus on what's not happening, and how the lack of the results taking a while, but focus on your belief and knowing that it's in alignment with everything that you're doing, and that is what's going to basically bear fruit, right? That's the result that you want. So if you focus on that, the thing is, what they always say, that whatever you focus on, that's what becomes reality. So if you
Yeah.
focus on limitless opportunities, that's what's going to happen, right? If you focus on like, oh, opportunities are coming, it's coming, it's coming, then it's going to come. So
Yes.
I
Oh, it is. And when it does come, you remind yourself. It's very important to be in that moment, consume, because we don't consume. Sometimes it happens and we brush it off. Okay, so next, it happens and okay, next. We don't stay in the moment and
yeah,
consume it and take it all in. Like really, like, whoa, this has happened, and you enjoy it, you take it in, you soak it in, and you experience all that joy that comes with it. We just brush it off and just, we make it irrelevant or insignificant. Oh, is this a little, just one? No, just, no, breathe it, sniff it in. Let it in. So,
I, I
yeah.
I love that, right? It's that getting over that fear of what if I fail.
Yeah. Because and I listen, is real. These thoughts creep to your mind, and like you don't even know where they come from. Like those doubts, like they go, like, oh, what?
Yeah,
They're real. Let's not play around these thoughts, and it's natural for these doubts to creep in. But our job is, of course, to catch them and like, hey, I have met you somewhere. Don't spoil my day, right? And then you really get yourself grounded and make sure you have, and I keep on repeating, make sure you have everything in alignment, right? Make sure you're aligned with your values, that your goals are aligned, that you have, if you're a business owner, that your packages, your programs, whatever it is that you're offering is aligned, your messaging is right. These are skills, of course, that you need to, of course, harness. But at the end of the day, why do you think I dance so much?
it's all aligned, right?
It's because I'm in flow and I'm freeing up my spirit. I'm freeing up my energy. I'm rejoicing for what is coming. I'm happy for what is. And, it just keeps me grounded.
Yeah. So the big question is, because we're talking about aligning all these different aspects of our lives, but when you're going through, I can only, I can speak for myself. Like when you're going through a crisis moment,
Yeah.
the alignment seems to go out of whack. Like, how do you maintain and stay grounded to get the
Okay.
things that you want done?
So you say crisis. What kind of crisis are we talking about? I've experienced different kind of crisis.
Oh, I'm talking. Oh,
Like, for example,
yeah.
what?
I'm talking like for me, like the biggest crisis that I've gone through. I think when I lost my sister, I thought that was the biggest thing that I could have experienced in my life, until recently, where I lost my identity. Like this wasn't someone stealing my identity. This is me losing everything that I came, like, put together and made me, from, being in a country that I was accustomed to and have friends and have a community, to as simple as having a car to drive and feeling comfortable to drive. And, all these different aspects of my life that when I moved, I lost all of that. And for me, I felt as though, okay, like, who am I? What do I do next? What is my purpose? Where do I go? Left, right? How do I get there? And that was the biggest challenge for me. I'm still a work in progress trying to figure that out. But at the time going through it, I lost my mind.
Yeah. Oh yes, it's easy to fall, down that spiral and think that you're drowning. It actually feels like you're
Yeah.
drowning, like literally you can't breathe. You feel this heaviness in your chest.
Yep.
I usually have my pains here in this chest. I feel like the energy flow this way. Here, you have yours here.
Mine is here.
Yes, and it feels like you're drowning. But just imagine that your face is in a puddle, a pool of water. It's in a pool of water. And it's just about turning yourself around and lying on your back and being able to breathe again. The idea or the kind of feeling of suffocating and drowning and losing ourselves is because we are lost in the whole illusion of the external world and the identities that we have to or feel obliged to or feel kind of forced to fit into. But if we just shifted perspective and saw things from another perspective,
Yeah.
and started asking different questions, right? Exploring your gold dust, I speak a lot about, and then connecting the dots into really creating this powerful being of who you are, what you represent, what you want to represent, and what you want to do with your life, meaning connecting the dots of your gold dust, I call it.
Yeah.
And giving your whole story and life meaning. The fact that you moved from a different country to another country and losing all these, the closed ones, losing your identity. Do you feel you ever lost it? Was it really lost or was it just an illusion?
So this is my new perspective. How I'm like flipping it is that those were a chapter in my life. Those are things that made me who I was at that point. So now it's about crafting a new me, creating a new, like, what do I want my life in this chapter to look like? What are some of the things do I want to do? How do I want to show up? How do I want to feel? So, and this is why I can talk about it right now, right? This is why I'm not on my couch, crawled up in a ball, or I can spend more than 3 hours a day working, because I'm now looking at it from, wait a minute. There are different phases and stages of life that we go through. This is my new chapter. This is my new phase. What am I going to do with it? Like, how am I going to craft it? What do I want it to look like? And I kind of like embrace it being a new opportunity or an opportunity for me to redefine myself.
Yes.
And
So
what that looks like. Yeah.
So answering the question, you've
Yeah.
answered it yourself. By answering the question, how do we really build that confidence out of crisis or during a crisis? Is by shifting the focus. Because when we feel that we are spiraling down, it's because we are either holding on to things that we thought we were, or the past experiences and things that no longer serve us, but we're still holding on to them.
Absolutely.
I love the word surrender, because that's what changed my life. Surrender to all the things that I had no control over, meaning letting it go, right? Forgiving. The energy of forgiveness starts with self-love. And when you have that ability to no longer hold the resentment towards the people that hurt you, and you can look at them in the face and smile and say, you know what, I love you. And that is so liberating. And I do that because I love myself enough not to want to keep myself in that state. And so that's where it all boils down to. Confidence has a direct relation to self-love.
I'm going to agree with that, because I'm thinking in terms of myself as well. It's like, okay, how much do I love myself not to stay down? How much do I love myself to have the courage to pursue the things that I want? And how much do I love myself to have the confidence, now that I have the courage, the confidence to say, hey, this is the face of the brand. Like, I'm the face of my brand. Look at me. This is what I have to share. This is my message, this is my story. And I think it's also like work, which is kind of like interesting when we do certain work with our clients, and we realize that it's the same thing we have to do with ourselves, right? It's that mirror effect. You don't just hold the mirror up to your clients, but you also have to hold that mirror up to yourself. Because now I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, this is the work that I do. We talk about that internal stuff. We talk about letting go of things that are stopping them from showing up as themselves, that wearing the things that they want and make them feel happy and confident. Because I'm like, whatever you wear, it would exude your confidence. Your confidence comes from what you wear. So it's kind of like interesting, where it's like one of those things, a doctor, the worst patients. So I did psychoanalyze myself there for a moment. I was like, wait a minute, I think I was doing that. So
Yes, absolutely. Our clients are usually us somewhere in our past. My
Yeah.
clients are me. I'm part of my clients. They're on the same road that I am on, right? And it's about just holding a hand out and pulling them forward, because we've been through that path and we can get there quicker, faster, more effectively. We took the hard way so that not everybody else has to, because it doesn't have to be so painful like we think it has to be, like
Yeah.
you have to. And then yes, the pain and the experiences do build character, but the truth is, if I had somebody back then 10 years ago, who reached out their hand to me, I think I would have been in a better place. I would have maybe gotten where I wanted to go faster. I don't know how it had changed, but I wish I had somebody then.
Yeah. For me as well, that's something that I sit down, I'm like, okay, going through where I feel as though I lost my identity, where everything connecting me to me was no longer there. I'm like, I wish I had someone that would have gone through that and willing enough to share their story, helping me to build who I am today. But like you said, we had to take the long road to getting to where we are. And I kind of look at it as, you know what, some things I hate using this, like things happen for a reason. Like, honestly, I do, because I'm like, if it's bad, I really don't. You're putting me through a tunnel just to learn a lesson. Like, why? Right? But it's the reality that we go through some experiences, and then the path that we're on is crafted in a way that we can then share those experiences with others, right? Help them to not go through, or even if they go through it, because you can't stop me sharing my experiences isn't going to stop it from happening to another person, but it will help them should they experience that. So I think that's one of the key. It's share your story, have the confidence to, especially on social media. I find that we tend to show people that perfect image of us that we want them to think that we're doing well, or think whatever is it that we want, and not show up as ourselves. So when I saw, as I said, when I saw you, I'm like, this is a woman that I want to be in the same space, in the same room in, because she's showing me how to break the barriers or break down that perfect glass ceiling or that mirror of perfection, and say, hey, show up as yourself. Maybe you don't dance, maybe you're a singer, maybe you don't, you're not a singer, but you're a speaker, whatever it is, to show up
The
as
gold
yourself.
dust. It's the gold dust. I speak a lot about the gold dust, and I'll never stop speaking about it. This is the essence of everything that we're made of, from our gifts, from our talents, to our innate wisdoms, to also our life experiences and our stories and our skills and our talents. Is everything, and it sparkles. And sometimes it sparkles such that it's everywhere. And as beautiful as it may sound, sometimes it's like, okay, so what do I do with all this sparkly stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's where, of course, you need to focus and connect the dots. For me, I connected my dots and build the confidence of what I do today, because I had to look at my gold dust. And when I became a coach, many of you may know the story, but when I became a coach, I was like, I'm a coach. And my past is my past. It has no importance or relevance to me helping people unlock their potential, right, and achieve their goals, and live up to their truest, highest selves.
Yeah.
Not really. My goal does had a lot to do with it, and unearthing my goal does build the confidence into what I do today, and unearthing my past as a teacher, as an educator, as an examiner, course creator back in my teaching education days, and now using that skill, right? Because confidence is also a skill. You have confidence in your skills, right? If you don't have the skills, of course, you're not going to have the confidence in executing, because you don't have a skill. It's only normal. You don't have the skills, so you can't have the confidence unless you polish up the skills and you build it up. But you can also have the confidence in your capacity
To have. Love that. Love that. Love that. You know
So
what your potential is. You
that's
know
it.
what you're capable of. Have that confidence
That's
to
it.
know that once you put pen to paper, hand to keyboard, whatever it is, that you have the confidence and the capability of doing
Yes.
and executing what you want to do in life. Now I noticed that, and this grabbed my attention as well, like from the new banner photos and everything on your LinkedIn. I was like, ooh, look at us showing up as really, like, I feel as though you are growing every day and really giving us a glimpse into what you like, who you are, and embracing who you are at the same time, right? And I noticed that we're talking about reigniting the power of your feminine energy. Can I tell you how much I love that? And I want to know, what is it? Because I have my own thought about the
Mhm.
feminine energy. I
Yes.
just want you to share a little bit about what is this feminine energy,
Right.
because that's part of the confidence, right? That's part of your
Mm.
courage. That's
Yeah,
part of who you are. So
it
share
is.
with me. Let
Oh, I was disconnected with my feminine energy because I was in a long-term marriage with a narcissist, right? And they bring you down, they dim your light, and they're very manipulative. And if you are not careful, you can fall into that spiral of believing. And you know what? No matter how strong you are, if you are in a situation for too long, you start growing the seeds that have been planted. So you
yeah.
get disconnected, your light dims. And I was that V powerless in that moment. So reigniting that feminine energy really meant unleashing something within me. But that meant really identifying who I was and letting go of everything that I was not. That is the beginning of the gateway to spirituality, is surrendering to everything that you are not so that you can embody and be everything that you are. And so the power of the feminine energy is really an individual definition. I'm not here to define what your feminine energy is like or should look like or be like. That's yours to decide. But
Yeah.
tapping into it is what I'm here to do. So yes, and really what that looked like for me, because I was a numb. So can you imagine? Can you imagine me numb?
We
I
we
can't.
should get offline and share stories.
Oh
Trust
yes.
me, I
Oh
know what
gosh.
it's
That
like. I
wasn't who I
know.
was. That wasn't me. And it's killing my soul because I know within me, I'm not that person. I'm not
Yeah.
numb. I'm not this person who is so resentful and so angry and because I'd been hurt so much. I'm not, that wasn't who I was. And I realized that that really dimmed my light. That's not how I want to show up in the world. So really reigniting that and unleashing the power of that feminine energy meant surrendering to everything that I was not and embodying everything that I was. And that meant defining what that looked like for me. But it also meant knowing my values and also making decisions. Oh, you got to make decisions. And that's another energy. That's another, everything is energy. Oh boy. Even the energy of decision making. And really the ability to do that and now pursue that and go for that. It really means relighting, rekindling, reigniting, reconnecting with your feminine energy. And sometimes you don't even know what that looks like because you've never really experienced it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. But when you do, it's beautiful. It's empowering.
Yeah.
Like you start attracting even better people into your life, more people who value you because you value yourself better. You start attracting better love into your life because you love yourself better. And you
Yeah.
define what that looks like. Oh boy, I could go on, my dear Felissa, but I
I
mean,
know, and I can see the excitement, because that's exactly how I think about it, especially as an image coach. It's like there are women that, because they lost that aspect of themselves, they don't wear clothes that show their confidence, that don't, instead of wearing clothes that they're shining and showing up boldly, they're hiding because they lost that femininity and that feminine side of them, and not realizing that it is as deep as that, right? It is not just about one day you got up and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna wear whatever, but there were things happening in your life and then you lost part of who you are in the process. So I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the transformation and just seeing what the process is of
yeah,
helping.
I'll be
I'm
sharing
assuming
more.
well, not assuming, helping women tap into that feminine, to get back to being who they are and really loving on themselves 100%. Flo says to keep
Oh.
dancing, Veronica. And I think that is the message that I want to end with, not only for you to keep dancing, but for every woman that is going through whatever she's going through and trying to figure out where, what does life look like beyond whatever is it, challenges that she's going through, and how does she build her level of confidence, having the courage to step out. And, just to remind them, as you said, it's doing that look at yourself and trying to in asking yourself that question, like, who am I, what is it I want to do, and who I want to be, and how do I want to show up. So I'm gonna give you the last word to leave a powerful message with our audience. Yes, I'm leaving it to you. I know that was my closing.
Yeah. You may be experiencing some form of pain right now. And you know what pain feels like? It's like a near-death experience. I've felt it before. It's like you're literally dying. You feel the pain. You feel it physically. It's an experience that is such a painful one. But I want you to know that this is part of the growth process. And you have to go through it. It comes into you, it goes through you, and flows out of you. And trust that there will be a process, and you will come out stronger. You'll come out wiser and more powerful than you did coming in. So whatever you're going through right now, trust that this is part of your growth. It's part of your growth.
Yeah.
Just like the snake sheds its skin and it can be painful, you're shedding yours. So go with the flow, go with the process, shed that pain and come out stronger.
Yep. Shed that pain, build that confidence, have the courage to pursue the goals that you want and the things that you want in life. And at the end of it, as Veronica says, you become a better person. So I wanted to end this on, I usually end my lives with 2 fun questions. The first one is, if there was a movie being made about you, who would you like to play you? Which actress would you like to play?
Oh boy, I don't know the name of the actress, but maybe I'd like to be the Queen of Wakanda.
I can see it.
Black Panther's wife, maybe. The Queen. Was that such a character? What was her name? I don't know.
Yeah, we have to go back and do the research.
The Queen of Wakanda.
But I love that. I love that, and I can see it. I can see it as well. Now, whose closet would you like to raid? This can be
Halle Berry.
Oh, really?
Yes. I really love her style and her, growing up, I watched Halle Berry, and she was a true inspiration. Her story also has been a very empowering one, what she had to go through and what she had to prove to the world. You don't have to prove anything, but she had to go through her whole process in her career. So, Halle
Berry is phenomenal. Well, I can see some glimpse on it on your new photo shoot that you did with the new images. I can see talking about that feminine energy. I can see some of that coming.
Yeah, she's an embodiment. In her, she's now in her 50s, so now she's still strong and keeping up to what she wants to represent and show up in the world as.
Exactly. And that's the most important thing, right? How you want to show up. So thank you very much, Veronica, for joining me. I want to thank our audience members, whether or not you watched live or you're watching on the replay. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate this. Flo says, mic drop. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. I'll be back next week, Monday, with another conversation with another powerful and phenomenal woman. So thanks again for joining. Have a great one, guys.
Thank you. Bye.